Hello, hello, and welcome into the Founders Club Live. I am your club president, Jeff Jarrett, and today we have a different kind of show planned for you. I'm so excited. Oh, hold on, hold on. I gotta get my lighting right. Okay, hold on one sec. Oh, now okay. Now we're in the Founders Club. See, the Founders Club is green, so you got to have the green to be in the Founders Club. Listen, all right. If you're just joining us, we are mixing things up. If this is your first time here, you're in for a treat. Okay, we're doing things a little different. It's the day after Christmas. Everybody's got that Christmas hangover. Okay, nobody's back at work. Okay, nobody wants to talk about work stuff. But you know what's fun is it's kind of the end of the year. And so this is the time where people like you kind of turn the page from I was all in Christmas mode. I was all excited about Christmas, and it's all you're all in on it, and getting the presents and doing the things and all the get-togethers, the parties, the family stuff, all the good stuff that is Christmas. And I'm a huge sucker for everything Christmas. I'm in the bag. I'm in the pocket of big Christmas. Okay, I'm all there for all the events, all the treats, all the presents, all the parties, everything. Okay, so but now it's over. Okay, we're December 26th here. If you're watching this on replay, this is the day after Christmas. Okay, the dust has settled. Okay, it's starting to clear. Okay, and now we're turning the page and so okay, what's next? Okay, we're all just going to veg out here for about a week, and we're just going to wait for the new year to start, right? That's kind of the next, obviously, big thing on the calendar, New Year's Eve. And of course, what does New Year's come with but New Year's resolutions, right? And so love them or hate them, it's just kind of part of the game. It's kind of just what we do. The gyms are super busy on, January 1st through the fourth or fifth maybe, and then everybody settles back into kind of their normals. But for a few of us, or for a few of you guys out there, some of those New Year's resolutions, some of those goals that you set for the year, kind of stick. Not all the time. We don't all lose 20 pounds. We don't all stop smoking, or be on social media less, or whatever it is that you set as your goals. But sometimes those things kind of do work out. And if you are one of those people that you have a thought to do some kind of new business, okay, some kind of side thing that you've been kind of messing around with, and you kind of think, man, that'd be fun if that was like what I did for a living. That was what I made some money, or maybe it's your main thing, or maybe it's something I would like to do to make some extra income. Like, hey, I've got a good job and I don't want to disrupt that. I don't want to rock the boat just yet on that. But I wouldn't mind making some extra money doing this other side hustle thing. So today is your episode. If you are thinking, hey, it's first of the year is coming up and I think I might want to give this thing a go, but I don't know what it takes to start a company. Okay, I know a lot of people out there doing it. Social media has taken over and is now kind of like people are learning all of this stuff about how to, influencers aside, just people that have kind of started a business, put stuff out on TikTok or on Facebook or wherever, they put stuff, and people are finding out about it. And these people are becoming these, quote unquote, overnight successes. But how do they do that? They got to set up an entity. They got to be able to take money from people. I can't just, I can Venmo you some money to do a thing for me, but that only going to take you so far, right? So jump in the chat and let's have a little discussion. What we're going to do today is something totally unique. Okay, so typically, if you are new with this, let me reset. Let me slow down here. I'm all excited about where we're going, trying to get there as soon as possible. Let me slow down. Here's what we typically do on the Founders Club Live. If you are new with us, we normally each week, every Tuesday, typically at noon, we will talk to someone who has founded a brand, has started a company, they're having some success with that, and we pick their brains. We hang out with them, we pick their brains, we learn everything we can, and what's really awesome about these types of people is they are very forthcoming with the information. They are not gatekeeping. They will just tell you what you want to know. You just got to ask them, and so this is the place where we just ask them. So if you're new around here, that's what we typically do. Today is a little bit different. It is the day after Christmas, and I didn't want to bother somebody with trying to be a guest on a podcast the day after Christmas. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do a solo show. Okay, I haven't done that yet. We just started off with a show. We're on our, I don't know, fifth, sixth episode, something like that. And so I was like, I want to do a solo show because I want to show people what they don't know about starting a business. If you've never started a brand, never started a company, here's what you need to know. So come on in and be part of the chat. So again, this is a live show. See, this is the word live right there, so you know it's live. This is a live show, so be in the chat. We are on YouTube and we are on Facebook as well. I've got people texting me right now. How do I get in? Hold on one sec. I'm going to give them the link, and I'm going to say, here you go. So we got people jumping in right now into the into YouTube. And so if you are, again, we are live here, and if you are thinking about starting a brand, this is the show for you. What I'm going to, okay, so how is that the show for me? What are you going to do for me? How are you going to save the day? How are you going to change my life? Here's the promise. What we're going to do is we're going to go from, here's the idea. You have an idea. You have a concept, something you want to do. This is where I need your help, okay? Because you guys are going to guide me through this. You guys are going to give me prompts on what company we're going to set up. But you have this idea. I'm going to make this widget. I'm going to do this service. I'm going to, whatever it is that you're going to do to make money, to have this little side gig, or to make this your main thing, whatever it is. I don't want to overplay the side gig. Maybe you want to make this your main thing. You want to go all in and have it be what you do for a living, how you pay your bills. That's a whole nother level, but let's get there, right? That's the dream. So if you have that idea, so you want to go from there, the other end of the spectrum is money in the bank, right? So I have an idea, but I need to know like how to get from over here with the idea to over here with the cash going into the account, right? So that's what we want to do, right? So I don't know, seems like there's a lot of steps. That seems daunting, how to set all this stuff up. Some of it can be, but it doesn't have to be, okay? So take it from someone who's done it kind of a bunch of times. It's not that hard. I'm not that smart, okay? So if I can do it, I promise you, you can do it too. So let me just walk you through it. And so right now we've got some people jumping in the chat as we speak. If you're in the chat, drop us a line. Let us know you're here. Let us know you are in the club and you are ready to participate. Because in a moment here, what I'm going to ask for, so let me set you up with what we're going to do, okay? And in a moment, I'm going to set you up with, I'm going to ask you guys a question. You guys are going to help me build this company, okay? I need to know what kind of company we want to build. Are we making widgets? Are we making hot salsa? Are we making, what are we doing? What are we selling? It could be a product. It can be a service. It can be, some other thing that I'm not thinking of. That's a fun thing about working in marketing is people have all kinds of cool ideas, stuff that you would never think of. So what we're going to do is we're going to come from an idea and a concept. We're going to name the company. So what do? You got to go through all these steps. You got to name the company. You got to have websites and socials and branding, and that all sounds like a lot, and it all sounds complicated. It all sounds expensive. So I'm here to tell you, no biases here. I'm going to tell you where the good free stuff is or where the good cheap stuff is, and what stuff you can do yourself and what stuff maybe you don't want to know. What you don't want to do yourself. So I'm going to guide you through all of that in today's episode. We're going to try to do it as quickly and as efficiently as possible, okay? I'm not trying to get you to sign up for my course or sign my email list or nothing. This is just free for being in the Founders Club. We're going to go through this, and hopefully this really helps you guys out. So you guys are in the chat. Again, we're just going to give people just a few more seconds to jump in here in the chat because I want to know what you guys think, what kind of company we should set up. So if you're just jumping in, we're doing a whole new show today. Typically, we go one-on-one with a guest, and we play all kinds of reindeer games and have a good time with the guest. Today's a different show. Today, you've got me, your host, your club president, Jeff Jarrett of the Founders Club, and I am going to show you how to start a brand, how to start a company from concept to put money in the bank, okay, and including how to set up what you got to do to set up your bank account. So I promise we'll try to make it unboring, fun, and we'll have a good time with it, and I want you guys to tell me what kind of company that we should set up. And now with AI and with computers and all of the fun technology, there's newer ways of doing this than ever before. Okay, so your boy Jeff Jarrett keeps up with all that. Okay, he does this stuff every day, and I'm here to guide you through that. So We have vamped long enough. We have waited long enough. Now I'm ready for the club members that are in the chat to give me some ideas. What kind of brand should we set up? That's the question. What should we do? What should we do? Should we do a product? Should we do a service? What should we sell? What are we going to do? I want you guys to tell me. Go ahead and drop that in the chat. Whatever ideas. I hear your brains out there. I hear them turning. What should I suggest? Everybody throw a suggestion in there, and we're going to pick one of these suggestions on what kind of brand to start. While you're doing that, I'm going to pop this up. Watch this. So go ahead and put in your suggestions into the chat. I'm going to pop this up over here, and I'm going to say, let's look at our Firefox browser. All right. I'm going to pop that up here. Okay. And we will, look at this, we got news stories, all kinds of nonsense. What we're going to do is we're going to go to our Chat GPT. Okay, give me just a second. I'm going to set this up. Okay, so someone says, oh, here we go. We're waiting for some comments to come in here. We're looking for, so the question is, what kind of company should we set up? What kind of company should we set up? So I'm going to set this up over here, and I'm going to pull up our browser here, and we're going to take a look at some good choices for companies. Okay, so hang with me here. Watch this. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to come in here. We're going to put me over here. Look at this. We'll just slide over to the side. And then we'll put up our browser here. Okay, so one says, yes. Okay, so the chat is asking what we're trying to do here. We're trying to come up with a company. What kind of company do we want to form? Okay, so let's definitely do a service company. Okay, so people are saying they want to do a service company. Okay, what kind of service should we perform for our customers? What do you guys think? While you guys are doing that, while you guys are thinking about that, I'm going to set up our little browser here. We can even ask. So, okay, so here's what we're going to do here. I'm going to scoot over just a little bit. Just a little bit. All right, so we've got our window up here where we can take a look at internet technologies. All right, so we should definitely do a service company. What is the service that we want to provide? Okay, so in the past, while we're coming up with the service, I'm going to tell you how this typically works, because in the past, I have done things like even helping brands come up with a name for their brand. So that's one of the first things that we got to do. We got to come up with a name for our brand. So while we're coming up with a service, I was just in here. So in the past, what I would do, I would come up with I would write down a bunch of words, right, that makes sense for for the brand, that, because what you typically, obviously, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start a landscaping company. Okay. And I want it to be, my name, or, there's all kinds of different ways you can come with naming a company. So step number one, we got to come up with the name. Okay. So if you're following along at home, we're about to start a brand and we're going to name it. We're going to set up all the stuff for it, and we are going to get this thing making money. Okay. Because otherwise, why are we doing this? Okay. We're not doing this for the fun of it. We're doing this to make some money. So if you're just joining us, we're trying to come up with a company idea for what kind of brand we should do. So one person says a podcast marketing is something hard to know what to do. Okay, so what about a podcast marketing company? Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, the chat is challenging us today. I like that. Okay, podcast marketing. Podcast. Okay, we're on a podcast. I'm thinking about it, okay, as I'm reading it. So we're on a podcast, right? And people need marketing services, and podcasts are a great way to do that. So maybe we do a podcast marketing service. So we'll give a minute or so more for people to give some more suggestions, some ideas. But if not, we're going to go with podcast marketing services. So let's just kind of start off with that. if I was looking to do some kind of podcast company, right? I want to do a podcast studio or help people do their podcast. Maybe I'm a consultant and I'm going to tell you how you should do your podcast. And okay, you know what? People said that would be helpful. So we're going to do podcast. So podcast it is. Hey, we're on a podcast. It makes perfect sense. You know what? And it came from you guys. So let's do it. So we've got Nest saying, let's talk about podcasts. So what I would say, so here's what I would do. In the past, before there was, AI and so forth, you could just go in and say, you just come up with your own, right? But now we've got a little, I call it the robot, right? So I'm on ChatGPT, so you can see it right here. It's on the screen. ChatGPT. So I would just ask ChatGPT. I say, I need, where are we at? Oh, here we go. I need, let's say 10 names for a company. You can see how bad I type here, how slow I type. I need 10 names for a company that, that does podcast marketing. How about that? Okay. So I'm just going to type it into ChatGPT. And it's going to say, okay, sure, buddy. Certainly. Here are 10 names for a podcast marketing company. Pod Promo Pro, Sonic Reach Media, Cast. And so here's what, so basically it gives me 10 options here. And what I can do, so this is not just like a one and done thing. So with ChatGPT or any of these AIs, you give it a prompt, but then maybe you say, oh, okay, that's good. Let's add something to it. So we're on a video podcast here. So let's say, add video, how about add the idea of video podcast. Okay. And then ChatGPT is going to say, certainly, here are 10 names for companies who specialize in video podcast. Pod Vista. Okay. Vision Wave. Okay. Podcasting marketing. Podflix. So it's like Netflix, right? So it'll give you all these ideas. Pod Reel, Streamcraft, Sitewave. So it's ideas of like visually seeing things. Pod Visual Ventures. Okay. So these are giving you ideas, right? So it's okay. So here's the deal. Here's what I want to get to with this coming up with the name of your business. If you're just joining us, we're starting a business, okay, a hypothetical business, and we're naming it. We're taking through all the steps. We're telling you everything you need to know to start your business. Okay. Let me say it shortly, concisely here. Everything you need to know to start a business. So first of all, you got to come up with the name for your business, right? Everything's going to be set up off of that. So that's kind of the first step. So I've done this many times for myself and for clients, and this is where we start. We start with, what do you want to be called, okay? Sometimes they know or have an idea, and sometimes you're like, I don't know, I just want to sell this XYZ service. And so the chat has said they want to talk about podcast marketing. So we're doing a video podcast here, and we're going to go, what do you guys in the chat, do you guys like any of these names? Let me enlarge this a little bit for you. Boom, 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 we'll zoom in. So there's 10 names on the board for a video podcast company. Tell us which one of those that you like, if any of these, or should we keep looking for more? And while we're waiting on that, so basically what this is doing, or what I would do in this case, if I were you and I was coming up with the name for my company, I would use a service like this to come up with a starting point, right? So this isn't going to give you the name of your company. I mean, it might, but it's not the ideas that it gives you the name of your company. But what it does is it gets you started. It gets you a concept. And it's kind of a word salad, right? It's like word salad is like, different words. We're going to combine them and mix and match them to come up with, what we ended up using, right? So this may give you an idea. Oh, I know. Okay, so like here we have Vision Wave. Okay, like, oh, I kind of like wave. Wave is cool. Like I can imagine a logo with like kind of a little bit of wave to it. But I don't want Vision Wave or Vision Wave podcast marketing. Like that doesn't sound good to me, but I like the idea of wave. And then there's also a video vibe podcasting solution. So I like just saying the word video, because in this scenario, we're going to do a video podcasting service, right? So maybe we do Video Wave podcasting or Video Wave, so someone in the chat says, can't read. Can you say it again? So, so basically we're heading toward, finding a name. So we're going to say, why don't we say we're going to call it Video Wave podcasting? If it's word salad, we should invite somebody. I don't know who that is, but okay. Oh, someone is saying if it's word salad, we should invite Kamala. I can only assume that's the vice pres. She's kind of world renowned for her word salad abilities. Okay. So, Vice President Kamala Harris want to call our video podcast company. What do you guys think? Podreel, Sitewave, Streamwave? How about Streamwave? Okay, so we're going to take Streamcraft Media right here, and then Sitewave. We're going to combine those two, and we're going to come up with Streamwave. Okay, so what if we said let's say we say something with, boy, oh boy, something with Stream Wave. Okay, so we're going to go ask one more time to ChatGPT. If you're just joining us, we're naming a company here. So we have Streamwave Media Solution, Pod Streamwave, Streamwave Promotions. So let's just go with Streamwave Media. Streamwave Media. SWM. Streamwave. Okay, so let's not spend all day doing this, but we've got the name. Okay, so we're going to go with Streamwave. Okay, Streamwave is the name of our hypothetical podcast video company. Okay, so Streamwave. People like me need podcast included. Okay, Streamwave Podcast. Okay, so someone says they need to see the word podcast to know. Streamwave. And so, okay, that's a very interesting point. What we can do if you want, and I say, one of the most important things about your brand is that it's clear and concise. Okay, so we're about to talk about logos, and we'll talk about that more in the logo section, but you don't want people to question what's going on, what's happening, I don't understand. So what you want to do is you want to be super clear. So one thing that you can do to add some clarity is you can state your mission really simply in your tagline. So you could say that we're Streamwave Podcast Solutions, bringing video podcast to life, or something with, you could say, simply state it like what you're trying to do in like 5 words ish or so. But I think if we just add podcast solutions or podcast marketing, Streamwave Podcast Marketing. How about that? So Streamwave would be the brand name, and podcast marketing would be kind of underneath that. So Streamwave Podcast Marketing. Streamwave is what you brand. That's what we come up with our logo based on Streamwave. And then podcast marketing is right underneath that. And so it's, so the whole company name is Streamwave Podcast Marketing. Okay. So it's like, oh, great. I love that. Okay. Podcasting is huge. Everybody's doing podcasting now, and we want to help them market their podcast. So we came up with a thing called Streamwave Podcast Marketing. I kind of like it. What do you guys think? I mean, you here for it? Are we way off? How are we doing so far? All right. So let's move forward. We're going to move forward with Streamwave Podcast Marketing. So we've got our name. Okay. Now it works with the tagline they're saying, okay? So let me go over here. I'm going to switch our browser here from our Firefox to our Chrome. Boom, there it is. So here's where I go next, okay? So now we've got our name, okay? So we're if you're just joining us, we're naming a company. We're starting it. We're going through all the steps. So here's where I go. I'm going to go right here to GoDaddy. So you've all heard of them. This is where you get your URL. Now, they'll try to sell you 1,000 other things, but some of those services are pretty decent. Some of them I've used and haven't loved in the past. But one thing that they are really good at, I would say the best, is domains. You can buy domains from all over the place, but in my experience, working with some of those smaller providers is not the best experience. Some of their customer service, when you need it in the future, you just want to know you can get a hold of somebody and make the changes that you need to make. So I'm talking about like setting up a website. Say you get your domain and you want to save like $1, so you go to a cheaper place. In the future, you're going to pay a lot more than that extra $1 you saved. So just go to GoDaddy. It's not expensive. They have great deals, and they will. That's where you're going to get your domain, right? So say we got Streamwave. So we go Streamwave, and we'll just put podcast. Streamwave Podcast, okay? Search, and it's going to do this little search thing here. Look at this. Streamwavepodcast.com is available, okay? We just get it. It's a penny for the first year. And then after that, it goes there. Guys, we just freaking killed it. Okay. Podcast. Someone asks, is GoDaddy number one? Yes. GoDaddy is number one for domains, specifically for domains. They're also going to try to sell you websites and emails and marketing services. Some of that stuff is a little hit or miss, but if you just want the domain, that's like www.yourcompanyname.com or whatever, .net, all these kinds of things, this is the place to go. So the Founders Club Live has a website, or coming soon. It's called the foundersclub.live. So there's a lot of different dots you can get now. So if you've heard of .com, .net, .edu, .gov, all of those different, they're called top-level domains. There's a bunch of them out there, but now there's more than ever. You can get .pizza, .New York, all kinds of stuff. But in this one, we kind of lucked out. So getting the .com for something is actually pretty challenging. And so this is kind of crazy. Streamwavepodcast.com is just available. And those are three. So here's what we have. We have Stream. Everyone knows how to spell the word stream. Everyone knows how to spell the word wave, and everyone knows how to spell the word podcast. So we have three words. They're all easy words. They're all easy words to say. They're all easy words to understand when someone says them, and they're all easy words to spell. So sometimes if you get a long name, you don't want that whole name in your URL, right? So like if we could just get streamwave.com without the podcast, that would be even better. So let's just try that, okay? So just shorten it down a little bit. Even though our company is called Streamwave Podcast Solutions or Streamwave Podcast Marketing. So here we go. So this is where you get into having some of the fun. Streamwave.com is not available. It's taken, right? And they'll help you try to buy it, but we're not going to mess with that. Streamwave.us is available. So this is where you kind of get into, well, would I rather have this or would I rather include the word podcast and get the .com? And that's just a choice you've got to make, but I would not stray away from some of these other things. So if you scroll down here, you can see these are a bunch of different options, and I'm going to tilt my screen to get a better look at it. Streamwave.club, Streamwave World, Steamwave. Well, that's not what we're looking for. So you got to pay attention to if they change the word on you there. Streamwaves with plural.co, Streamwave.pro. So, there's this is where you get into some of the fun. Streamwave.network. I don't think any of those work nearly as well. Streamwave.ai, but you're not really doing automated in this situation. So you got two great choices. You got streamwave.us and streamwavepodcast.com. If I were setting up this company for real, I would grab both of these. I mean, one's $5 and one's a penny. Okay, so why not? Just go ahead and grab them. And you could do multiple years if you want, but you could just do 1 year and make sure that this thing's going to take off and actually go. No need to sign up for 10 years and then go, oh, well, I tried a podcast marketing company. It didn't work. And then you invested all this money. So now we have our domain. So let's just say we're going to go with streamwave.us as our main web address that we're going to actually market. We're going to buy the other one. So if someone goes streamwavepodcast.com, that will take you to the website. But we're going to set up streamwave.us. I like this one because it's short and it is $5. And so it's great. And then we can set up everything on it. So what do we do next? So now we have a name. So why do we get the URL next? Because the next thing we need to get, we're starting a company. We're going to go from idea to putting money in the bank. Okay. So we're going through all the steps. Okay. This is a free guide to how to set up your company. And so what we do is we first start off with what are we going to call it? We used AI to help us come up with a name. We got some suggestions. We kind of put together a couple of the suggestions to come up with Streamwave Podcast Studios. And then we took that and we simplified that for the URL. Why is it important to get the URL next? We want to buy that and lock that down because the next thing we want to do is we want to set up email addresses. Okay. So for that, I'm going to highly recommend, there's a lot of places to get email addresses out there. I've done a bunch of them for clients, for companies that I've run. I say the number one solution is Gmail. It's definitely the best. I've used them all, and this one just is the best because of the email platform in and of itself is just the best, but also because of the other suite of services. They've got your Google Drive and your Google Docs and your Google Slides, and all of those additional things are great. But just email alone, Gmail is the best one that I've used. Okay, and it's very affordable, right? So if you come down here, I went straight to the pricing page. $6 a month gets you in the game for an email address. And here's the thing. This gets you one email address, but you can set up to 30 what they call aliases, right? So if you want to set up your name at Streamwave, right? So you want to set up, my name's Jeff. So if I want to set up Jeff at streamwave.us as my email address. So what you don't want is at gmail.com. You do not want your thing to say Jeff at the Founders Club at gmail.com, right? You want it to say, like in our case, Streamwave. You don't want to say streamwave at gmail.com. That just says amateur night, says you're not a real company, and then people's buying confidence just goes down, right? You want your name at streamwave in this case .us, right? So that's what we want to set up. So then we set that up. So you'll go here and you'll get that set up. I'll include some links in the description that will help you get to the right places here. But for $6 a month, okay, that's like very affordable, very low commitment to, we're going to go a little bit more expensive on our next step. But for $6 a month, now you've got a real email address. Why is it important to do the name and email address and domain thing as these first steps? And the reason is because now we're going to start signing up for services and activating accounts, and all those accounts are online, and all of those accounts need an email address to get started, right? So you can't set up these accounts without an email address. And then what you don't want is to set up a bunch of stuff under one thing and then get your email and company formed and then go, oh gosh, now I need to, set up new accounts under this new email or try to figure out how to change my email. You don't want any of that. You want to set it up under your real email address so everything's all set up right. It's all about doing it the right way. I'm trying to guide you into doing it the right way from the beginning so that you're not having to double back and reconfigure and reconnoiter, and it's just a pain and it's a mess. And then you end up having, so some accounts, especially you get way into a company, oh, that was when we first started, and those were actually set up under my personal Gmail account. And then we got going, and then it got moved over to streamwave.us emails, and then you got a whole mess on your hands. So just take it from Jeff Jarrett at the Founders Club and just set up your email address the right way. It gets activated immediately, and then you're ready to go. So what have we done? We've decided what we're going to sell. Okay. We came up with the name for it. We got our URL. Okay. So we got our .us, streamwave.us. Now we've got our email address, right? So we set this up. It's $6 a month. Okay. We spent $5 to get our URL. So right now we're into this thing for $11. Okay. So we're going to go up a little bit on the price. I'm going to tell you, I'm in Texas, so I'm going to tell you how this works in Texas. Some states do work a little different from others. I don't think it's like radically different from one state to the next, but the next thing you want to do is your company formation. Okay. So you can do sole prop, basically DBA, doing business as, but what you really want to do in pretty much any case, if you're going to be collecting money from people, you want to set up an LLC. Okay. So LLC is basically setting up your company in a way that if something goes wrong or goes sideways and someone sues you, it does a lot of things, but the main thing that you're going to be concerned with is if someone sues you, you don't want them to be able to come after your personal assets. You want them to only be able to come for the assets of the brand under the company, right? So if you just start a company and something goes wrong, you don't want someone to be able to sue you for your house, or whatever the things are that you own, your money and your house and stuff. You want to be protected, right? So to be protected, you need to have an LLC. And so limited liability companies, I believe what that stands for. So there are a lot of places online that you can do it yourself. You can just go to your state's website and figure it out how to get an LLC set up. What I recommend, okay, is go to LegalZoom. Okay, they're like the GoDaddy of their neighborhood, right? Of their office, right? So GoDaddy's number one for URLs. LegalZoom is number one, I think, for getting these online kind of lawyer type services. Also, I should say this. I've got to say this. I am not a lawyer. So anything I tell you, I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm just telling you as someone who has set up companies for other people and for myself, this is how I've done it in the past. This is how I recommend other people do it. You consult your own, people, if you're going to, make a bunch of legal decisions. But if you're just trying to get your company started, LegalZoom is really good. They have an LLC thing. You can just go and sign up through their services. It's really simple. It guides you right through everything you need to know. Now, I will tell you this service in the state of Texas anyways, it does take a couple of weeks to get it done. Okay. So it doesn't mean you're going to be sitting around twiddling your thumb for, 2 to 4 weeks, but just know there are certain things that you can't do until this is done. But you can still go ahead and get a bunch of stuff we're about to talk about is stuff that you can get set up while you're waiting for your LLC to be finalized. But you already know what your name is. You already know how that's going to be registered with the state by setting up this LLC thing. So we've got our name, we've got our URL, we've got our email, and now we've formed our company, right? And this also depends. Without getting into the weeds on this, it will depend on whether or not you have partners. Are you going at it by yourself? Do you have partners? What kind of thing are you doing? And this is the good thing is LegalZoom, when you go through the steps of the process for setting up your LLC, it will ask you all of these things. So you don't have to, you don't have to be a whiz. You just answer the question. Oh yeah, me and my buddy are going to go in this, or me and my family member are going to do this, or whatever it is. You just answer the questions, and not that stuff can't change in the future if you want to modify that, but it is important to do it right the first time. And so these guys will help you answer the questions. And then I believe in the state of Texas, it's like, I might get this number wrong, $400. Okay. Hold on. Here we go. How much for an LLC in Texas? It is. What are the state fees? Here we go. $300. I'm seeing $300 according to the internet. Okay, so yeah, it's about $300. So now we're starting to spend a little bit of money, okay, to get ourselves set up. But you've got $300 into that's just the fee to the state. The state's going to charge that no matter what. LegalZoom has a free version of the assistance to help you get this thing set up. Of course, they are like GoDaddy and the other ones. Nothing is actually free, right? It's free, but also, hey, would you like to buy our other services? Of course, everybody has that same format, right? Why would they set up a website and give you all this free advice? Because, of course, they want you to sign up for the other things they do. And some of the stuff's great, so I'm not throwing any shade at that business model whatsoever. If you want to get LegalZoom to help you with other things, they're going to make it abundantly available to you to sign up for their other services. But they certainly, if you don't want that, you could just keep declining it. Every screen that you go through to set up your LLC, there'll be another sales pitch. Step 4, do this. Answer these questions. Oh, do you want this service? Nah, I'm good. And you kind of go through, just keep saying no, I'm good, and it will be free. Their services will be free. You'll just have to pay the state fee of, as we just saw in the state of Texas, $300. Okay. Whew. All right. Taking a break for a drink. This podcast is not brought to you by Black Rifle. This is a cool. I got this for Christmas. It's a Grenade coffee mug. It's just water in here right now. All right, and we're back. Okay, if you're just joining us, we're setting up a company. We're trying to do this fast. I'm doing as fast as we can, but we are really into it. We've got a few steps to go. I'll try to make this quicker here. So we got a name, we got a URL, we got a website address. We turn that website address also into an email account, and we also are setting up our LLC. So now we have our LLC. We're close to setting up. We have to be able to set up a bank account, right? We can't just go to the bank and say, one business account, please. Thank you. They're going to say, well, you've got to have a little bit of paperwork before we can just set up a business account, right? So step number 1 is getting your company formation. Okay. So we're recommending LLC for most brands. Now you might want to be incorporated. Again, there's more to it depending on what you're trying to do, but for most companies that I've ever assisted in helping with marketing services, it's always been LLC. So here's what we want to do. The next thing you're going to want to do is get an EIN, okay? So you've got to have an LLC. In most states, I believe, my research is you've got to have an EIN and an LLC to set up your bank account. So this one is also pretty straightforward. I would just go to the IRS website. If you just put in, how do I get an EIN? It will take you here to this exact page. And it basically will let you, here's all the steps you need to do, apply online. You click that button right there. You go through the application process. You probably will need some of that stuff from your LLC formation to set this up. So it's a 2-step process. You get your LLC, you get your EIN. Now that you have these 2 things, then you can go to your local, Chase or Wells Fargo or wherever you want to bank. Go in there and set up your bank account. Okay, and just say, yeah, I need a business bank account. Here's what I'm doing, and here's my information. Those are the 2 things that they're going to need. In my experience, and again, states vary from one state to the next. consult your consult your legal team before you get too committed to anything. But those are the two things that, in my experience, I've needed to get a bank account set up. So now here's the beauty: we've got a name, we've got emails, we got a business set up, and now we got a bank account. We're ready to collect some money. We're ready to make money. Okay. So it's really not that hard. It's not that challenging. Again, I'm not the smartest guy in the world. And if I can figure this out, anybody can do it. Okay. So, so now we need to do our branding, and I'll try to make this part short. Our time is just flying here. So now we need to do branding and our website and our social. Okay. So those are the next 3 steps, right? So it's like, okay, now I've got a company. I can actually take money from people. I know I'm good at what I do, and I'm not the best at doing, in our case, if you're just joining us, we started a company called Streamwave Podcast Solutions. Okay. What do we call it? Streamwave Podcast Marketing. Sorry. So we're going to help people market their podcast. Okay. And that's what the chat came up with for us, for our company here. And we came up with the name Streamwave, and we added podcast marketing to be specific at what we do. And we set up the URL streamwave.us. We got our email, we got our company formed, and now it's time to put ourselves out there. We got to put our name out there, let people know. So now we need to come up with a logo. Okay, so I will just tell you this. There's several ways. So you can go to Canva and do a do-it-yourself thing. There's a bunch of places now that will let AI like kind of come up with something for you. Or you can go to a place and hire a freelancer at a place like Fiverr. Fiverr is there's a bunch of freelance platforms. Hold on one second. Okay, someone here in the podcast studio is trying to use the space, I guess. But we're doing the Founders Club right now, and so the podcast we're talking about setting up Pod. What do we call it? We called it Streamwave Podcast Solutions. So there's a bunch of ways to set up your logo, whether you want to hire a local professional or you want to do let AI take a swing at it. You want to do it yourself with Canva or some type of creator like that. There's a lot of good solutions. Here's the thing, as a professional designer, so now you're getting into my wheelhouse. You're like, okay, who's this guy that has this podcast called The Founders Club? My name is Jeff Jarrett, and what I do for a living is not podcasting. Okay, I'm getting into that, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it, but I'm not a professional podcaster right now. What I am is a professional designer, and I help people grow their brands, and I do all these websites and logos and all this kind of stuff. So this is my wheelhouse, okay? So this is where you find your options. I'm giving you your options here. You can find someone like me, a professional that you could deal with, a real person, and kind of come up with the thing you want. Now, depending on what your funding situation is, you may go, oh, I can't afford, those people are so expensive and their work is great and I love it. I love the process of it, but I can't afford that. I got to go with the, just kind of getting a started thing. So I'm giving you your options here, okay? Is an unbiased, giving you your options situation here. So you can DIY. There's some things you can DIY and some things you can't. Obviously, I'm a designer, so I'm gonna say, oh, don't DIY your logo because it's not gonna come out right. But it's up to you, and the internet makes it easier these days to not mess that up. Here's the one thing I will tell you, okay? So if you're going to DIY, okay, here's the design. Here's my clip I'm going to pull out of this podcast, okay? From a designer, if you are going to do it yourself on your logo, the number one thing that I'm going to give you two helpful hints, okay? 2 laws. I'm going to call them laws, okay? You should absolutely do these, okay? One is legibility, okay? Can I read the logo? It's the most important thing about any logo is, can I read it? Okay, so when people decide to do their own, okay, if you were with us before, I think we got interrupted. We had a little outage, but we're back. So this might be part 2 of coming up with this. So we're talking about branding, coming up with the logo. Listen, I'll just make this short. You need to be able to read, not you. Let me take you out of the equation. People, not you, okay? Other people that don't know what the name of your company is, they need to be able to read the name of your company easily without having to know, oh, Streamwave. This is what amateurs do. They want to try to put every idea that they have for their logo into the logo design. Oh, it's Streamwave, so it needs to show like something streaming and it waves, so let's do like a whole ocean. Like, it's like they try to put all this stuff in there. That's not the logo. Think about the successful brands, Nike, Apple, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, whatever that, all these consumer brands and a lot of other ones. When you see the logo, if I see the IBM logo, it just says IBM. Okay. I don't have to like think about it. It's simple. It's legible, right? So the number one law is legibility. And the number two law, it kind of goes with that, but it's a little different. It's simplicity. Okay. Do not make your logo have a bunch of stuff in it. Okay. You don't need the thing. Oh, the S is going to combine with the W for the wave to make no, don't do all that. You don't think of all the concepts that you need to communicate and try to put them in your logo. Now, make a simple logo. And then with your branding, if you want to have those concepts represented in your branding, like in the background or with a graphic, or, they want to complement your brand, that's where you put that kind of stuff in, but don't try to put it in your logo. I'm just trying to help you guys out. I'm giving you also my pet peeves in logo design. So think about the logos, they're super simple. You just want to state the brand in a legible way without a whole bunch of extra stuff. And then you use the extra stuff in your branding materials, in your website, and your social media posts and all that kind of stuff. So, okay. So I'm stepping off the soapbox now. Okay. Everybody's safe. Okay. The designer went off for a little bit, but now we're all going to be friends. Okay. So whether or not you use a professional designer like jeffjarrett.com, or you go with do-it-yourself like Canva, or pay a freelancer on something like Fiverr, just find the thing that's right for your budget and do the best version you can when you're getting started. So I've got one more thing to do, okay, and we are going to wrap this thing up. Okay, so now what have we done here? We come up with a name, a URL, an email address. We set up our company formation with both LLC and EIN. We got a bank account set up. Okay, we got a branding for our brand. So you don't have to have branding and website and stuff before you set up these other like your LLC and so forth. But I'm trying to do this in order, right? Like what actual order you got it. But now this is one of those things where while you're waiting for your LLC, I mentioned that in step 3 or 4, whatever one that was, getting your LLC it does take a couple weeks. This is where you can go, okay, I already know what my name's going to be called, so I can go ahead and set up some of this other stuff. So this is where you can set up use those couple of weeks while you're waiting for your LLC to get approved through the state to set up your logo, set up your website, and your social media. Okay. So when it comes to websites, and now we're moving on to websites, I'm going to give you 3 options. Okay. So these first 2 are DIY, and they're the ones that you may have heard of. Squarespace is one that has, let's see here. They've got options to do it yourself, and they have different price plans. Some are, I think they probably have a free thing. Let's take a look. Nope, they don't. Never mind. So you're going to spend at least $16 a month for a website at Squarespace, up to, $50 a month, or they probably have custom pricing if you need a really fancy website. But that's if you pay for the full year in advance. If you pay monthly, you start at $23 a month. So again, not bad. This is not breaking the bank. Their stuff is really nice, and it's going to work. Okay, so if it just needs to work and it needs to look, good, they have a lot of templates that you can choose from to get you started. This is DIY. So if you've never used Squarespace, you've never built a website, this is DIY. This is you doing it yourself with their templates. Okay, so the challenge, let me tell you so that's the pros, right, to doing it. It's, low cost, easy to get started and all that kind of stuff. Now the cons are you are doing it yourself. So if you don't know what you're doing, a lot of people get frustrated with this process. Like, it's challenging. Again, full disclosure, this is what I do for a living, as I build websites for people. So I don't want to throw any shade on these guys. If you need to do it yourself for cost reasons, this is where I would go. This is where I would send someone that says, look, I can't afford you, but I do need to get something. What should I do? I would send you here. The other option is Wix. Wix is another low-cost builder that lets you, build your own websites. But I prefer Squarespace. So looks like their pricing is very comparable. For both the end product and the user experience, I think Squarespace is just better. Again, I'm not getting paid to say this. This is my competitor. But I just like their stuff a little bit better. So when people come to me, they say, I get a lot of customers that say, I tried the Squarespace thing because I was trying to save some money, and I was, we're getting started, and I don't have a ton of money to spend on starting this new brand, which I totally understand. But what people do is they get in here, they say, oh, the template looks so nice. The template's beautiful. But then when I started messing with it, it got all like, ugh, this isn't good. Because that person, whoever's coming to me, they're not a professional designer. Whoever set up that template is someone like me. They're a professional designer. They know how to do layouts. They know how to select the right images and get the text to look right. But when you try to do it, you're not going to have the exact same amount of words to say something that what's in the template. So like all of a sudden where they had their headline looked perfect, but they'd only use like 5 words to, as their placeholder text. But I need to say like 26 words. And all of a sudden now it's like all funky looking. And then the image I have, their image was perfect and beautiful and took up the space exactly right. But when I put my image in there, now it's all like, it doesn't look cool. And the guy's head's chopped like this and you can't see him. And it's just not good. It's just because these people know how to lay out imagery, composition, which is like how you're, what's in the shot and all that kind of stuff. So these are all the things that might be a challenge to you if you are trying to do it yourself. Again, if the price is the only consideration or the main consideration, give it a shot. But don't get too discouraged. These guys do have free for 14 days. So that does give you a couple weeks to try it yourself, give it your best shot. But don't be afraid to hit the eject button. If it's just not working out, don't marry yourself to something that's going to be like not the best solution for you if it doesn't work out. Another thing is, if I was doing this, I wouldn't set this up on my live URL. So again, on our first step, we got streamwave.us. I would use one of their dev URLs to start off with. Just use like their free one. If you come up with something that you like or can live with, then activate it on your live URL. But do not activate it on your live URL until you know this is the solution for you. I hope that makes sense. It will make sense when you actually do it, but I hope it makes sense at this stage in the game. So one shameless plug. I am trying to give you guys as much free, awesome, usable advice as possible. If you're just joining us, this is part 2, because part 1, we got our internet connection got cut off. And so we're doing part 2. But look at this. I'm going to show you this. I am Jeff Jarrett, and this is jeffjarrett.com, where we set up your website. So I make it, so if you will say, okay, I would rather work with a real person. I don't know how to do all this stuff. I don't know how to come up with all the content that it takes and the images and all the text and all that kind of stuff. That's another thing I didn't even mention when it comes to doing your Squarespace or your Wix website, like a do-it-yourself website, is coming up with what words you're going to use to say what it is that you do. The copywriting is a whole nother beast. And so when I get customers like these lovely people here on these reviews here, this is my website. Well, there I am. This is my website. I have something called WebDX, Website Day Experience. And in the Website Day Experience, I'm saying we, like there's a whole bunch of people here. It's me. I, Jeff Jarrett, make your website in one day. So it's not a whole long drawn out process. I've just been doing this for okay, how's that possible? Is this going to be a good website? Is this going to be something you just throw together? Or is there going to be any attention to detail? All of this is very fair. All these questions are very fair. When you hear someone say, I'm going to do your website in one day, I would ask all those questions, and I would seriously be a suspect whether or not that person is lying to me or is going to give me a good quality product. I promise you, I've just been doing this. So how is it possible that I do it? I've been doing it for a very long time, and I've just built a lot of resources, and I use those resources to help build your product. So I'm not starting from scratch every single time. I've got headers built, I've got navigation built, I've got footers built, I'm saying a bunch of words that maybe you don't know what they are. I've got website layout stuff already made that I can use, put your content into. Every website is completely unique. Okay, so you're not getting someone else's website. You're getting a unique, totally one of a kind thing. But just some of the stuff that makes it go, I've already built them out, and I utilize all of those properties that I built out over 10 plus years to make your site in a single day. Now, the other thing that's great for WebDX users is I help you come up with all the content that you need. I've had clients have no content whatsoever, just say, this is what I do and this is where I do it, and I come up with all the content for them. I've had some people come up with a bit of the content and I fill in the blanks. And then I've had, every once in a while, I'll have a dream client and they'll come up with they will give me all the content. They'll say, here's every word that I want on the website, make this into a website. So those are few and far between, but every once in a while, I will get one of those. So if you have, and here's my pricing. Okay, so it's $4,200 to do your website in a single day. This also does your logo. So this is your logo and your website done in a single day. You don't have to really lift a finger hardly. And I take all the work out of it. I can help you write all your copy. I can write the copy for you. All that good stuff. So if you I don't know none of this stuff, but I could probably come up with $4,000 if I really had to. And I'm just gonna hire this guy because his reviews are really good. And I looked at his work. So here's how it works. You book your day, you pay for the thing, and then I sit at the computer right here, which is the computer I'm on right now. And I make your thing. And you can see a bunch of user reviews. And these are links to their actual websites. So here's Polarity's website. You want to see one? Here it is. Here's what we do. I come up with all these interactive things, video content, they're like a Texas company. So we made it look all Texas-y with horses. And if you go down here far enough, you'll see their, here they are right here wearing cowboy hats, because they're like real Texas people. So you can see here a lot of attention to detail, a lot of content, and a unique, totally cool experience. And you can go to my website, jeffjarrett.com, and you can click on all these websites that I've done, and I can give you more if you want to see them. These are just the ones I included on here. And you can go to the actual website. So a lot of these places they don't actually show you their product. I show you all my products here. So you can go see all of these websites. You can talk to any of these people that you want to and say, what was your experience working with Jeff Jarrett? And I am 100% sure, I'll say, that they're going to have a positive experience. So if you want to work with a professional, Jeff Jarrett WebDX is a great option. This whole thing was not set up to be a commercial for that. I'm just giving you my experiences. So if you want to go free, they're not free. If you want to go low cost, do it yourself, I would go Squarespace. If you'd rather go Wix, you can. I'm just recommending Squarespace. If you've got some money to throw at it and you don't want to mess with it and just want to have it done the right way, hire this guy. Okay, he could do it for you. Or find someone else, So we are on the home stretch here. We are over time already. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So if you're just joining or joining late or just catching this, this is part 2. We had an internet interruption here on our live stream that kicked us off, but we bounced right back. This is part 2 of the live stream. So if you are thinking, it's right now as of the time of this live, it is almost the end of the year, okay, which means it's almost the first of the next year, 2024. And if you're thinking about starting a brand, launching a company, my name is Jeff Jarrett, and I help companies do that all day, every day. And so I want to do this quick podcast just to talk about all the steps it takes to start a brand, from concept to setting up your bank account, getting your name established, getting your URLs and your LLCs and all that kind of good stuff. So I'll put timestamps in here if you want to skip around to find the certain sections. But we went from coming up with what are we going to call this, or what kind of service are we going to sell, to naming it, to getting our website and our social and everything. That's the one thing I didn't include in this. That'll be a whole nother video, is once we have all of this set up and the website set up, communicating what we do and letting customers sign up for your service, or interact with you or book a demo or whatever it is that you're trying to do, is setting up your social. And that's another thing that I would do once you have the name and the URL, is go ahead and grab all your social handles. Grab your TikToks, Facebooks, Instagrams, LinkedIn's, all those kinds of things, whatever it is that you plan on being on, Pinterest and so forth. Go ahead and grab your handles and pop up that, once you have your logo, go ahead and pop up that logo up there that just say, hey, coming soon, the Founders Club Live is now, grab your Twitter handle or whatever, X, I guess we call it X now, your X handle. So you have that. And then as you start to create content for that, that's a whole nother podcast that we'll get into another time, is the social media content creation. But that's we'll get to that another day. I just want to thank you guys for being here and being part of the show. Hopefully this is very helpful to you, and hopefully I really hope this encourages you to start your thing, because I know how scary it can be if you don't know the answer to how to start your company. But hopefully this can be a good resource for, again, how to go from concept to collection of accounts receivable, of course. And so if I can be a resource to you, let me know, hit me up. I'm glad to help any way I can. Thank you for being part of the Founders Club. And we will be back next week. Next Monday, we'll be back at our normal time slot at noon, and we will have a guest that we can talk to about what they do to be successful. But for now, I just want to take this day after Christmas just to give you guys some encouragement and some knowledge about how to get started. We'll see you guys on the next one.